Hello.
Welcome to the Breeding Kitchen. Stu and I are here making lunch, and one thing that clients are always struggling with is how do you make sure you're accurately recording what you're eating. So it's so important for us to always use a food scale, or in Stu's case with stuff like prepackaged foods, that he's scanning barcodes. So we're going to make our lunch today and kind of talk you through our process. We've got everything already out. You can see Stu's using the food scale here.
I'm good at it too. It's a skill.
And he gets a lot of meat, but it's just, we always put a little bowl on top and then just zero it out. That way you don't have to add things in your head, like the bowl weighed 10 grams and this is how much. Once you put the bowl on, zero it, put your food in, take it out. So Stu's already measured his lunch meat here. Now let's just say I'm gonna measure carrots. I'm just gonna zero that out. I got my baby carrots here, all right? I know I need 60 grams of carrots, so I'll throw them in here. Most scales have ounces and grams. Some have even milliliters or liters. So I've got my carrots there. I can just pop those out, pop them on my plate, and then zero it out again. So when Stu's ready to use it, it's on zero. Okay, so big thing is just be realistic, right? Like Stu's got cabbage over here. He's measuring out his cabbage, but most of the time, you look on the food label and it's got like 2 carbs and 3 cups of cabbage, and you're not prepping for a bodybuilding competition. You don't have to waste about. He's got celery here. You know, the caloric value of celery is 0. So we really try to focus on things that are making a big bang on our budget, like meats, cheeses. I've got hummus here. You know, the fats can creep up with you on that, so you always want to measure and weigh those things out. So again, you can see with him, he's making sure he gets the number of ounces of meat that he needs, and even he'll have to half one just to get it right. He does about 2.5 of 2 different kinds of meat. So he's got his 5-ounce portion.
So it seems a little meticulous, but the devil is in the detail. And as Tiff said, I think people really battle with, I always hear her asking people, are you weighing your food? Are you measuring your food? You saw me using a measuring cup for coleslaw. So right now I'm being very, very hyper specific. I'm on a specific amount of carbohydrate that I really have to hit. I have a goal in mind coming up in the next couple of months. So everything I'm putting in, I am hyper weighing and measuring, and even the cabbage. So even though it's low carb, I'm making sure that I'm counting every single carbohydrate. Wouldn't you say that's probably the biggest issue that we see with people is they're not recording accurately, they're not weighing, they're not measuring?
Yeah, I think so. And like, for example, I think one other thing that people get confused on is meat. Is it raw or cooked? Like, I've got pre-cooked chicken tenders here. I cook off a bunch of these little chicken tenders at the beginning of the week. Well, I'm now weighing them cooked. So I want to make sure when I record it on my journal that I'm putting in chicken tenders cooked, because if they were raw, they're going to weigh differently. It may not be significant, but over the course of the day, those little things can add up. So just make sure, like with lunch meat, where the way it's packaged is based on the cooked weight because it's a pre-cooked food. But with raw meat, the food label is reflecting the raw weight. So just be sure if you're weighing it after it's cooked that that's the way you're logging it, okay? And stuff like, I'm gonna do a slice of packaged cheese. Now there's probably some discrepancy, but it's not enough to really stress about. So I'm not gonna weigh my slice of cheese, okay? I'm not gonna, or like Stu's got a bag of chips here. The thing with this is we have noticed that pre-packaged, we did this with a can of beans the other day, we did this with a bag of chips. If it says 3.5 servings on the back of this, and you are gonna eat up 1 serving, you just still need to weigh it out. 1, you might get away with more chips, which is always a plus. But 2, the packages can be deceiving. In this bag, we've only eaten these 1 time, and look how much is left.
Yeah, we've noticed that quite a bit, where what they are promising that's in the bag. So if you just, let's say this says 2 servings and you just, or 3 servings, and you split it into thirds, it can go either way. There may be less product in there and you have the opportunity to eat more, which we always love, or you might be eating too much of something. So like the measuring cup and things like that, we've noticed a big discrepancy between a half cup of something and the equivalent in weight on a scale. So we tend to, things like that cabbage, I'm not going to weigh it, but I will stick it into a measuring cup and get an idea. Certain things that are a little more intense, like the watermelon, for sure, you're going to want to weigh that instead of sticking it in a measuring cup that might have X amount of space in it. Things like that.
That's what I get a lot. People put a cup of blueberries or a cup of sweet potato. If you get a cup of little diced sweet potatoes, that's going to be very different volume than a cup of mashed sweet potatoes. So, we have to be realistic. You're going to keep your food scale to a restaurant necessarily. You're not going to always weigh and measure everything. I don't go out with him and he takes it. But things when you're home and you can, that's where you see that discrepancy between losing and not losing. So, anything else, Steve?
Well, I think also, as meticulous as it may seem, we'll end up making lunch in about 10 minutes. We've got a system. We pull everything out, we scan it. Many of these foods, I rescan just to show you how I'm scanning it. For those of you unfamiliar, MyFitnessPal, it's got a little scanner on there. You hit the barcode, and it will give you all the information that you need to add into your spreadsheet. It's a very simple process. So it's on the counter, it's in the system, it gets weighed, and then it hits the plate. It doesn't hit the plate until we've gone through all those little nuances there. And I think many times people just get a little overwhelmed with it. It takes a little bit of time in the beginning, but it is worth it because our goal is we're feeding you as much as possible while losing weight. So you could be leaving a lot of food on the table that you could be eating, right? I think the bigger thing is Tiffany is going to remove only as little as she has to, right? We want to eat as much as we possibly can. Until you have dialed these foods in, until you're meticulously recording the amount of carbohydrate, fat, and proteins, she can't figure out which way to take you. We may need to raise the amount of macros. She may need to lower 10 grams of carbs. I've seen a massive fluctuation in weight, body fat percentage specifically, on 25 grams of carbohydrate a day. And, for a woman, that may translate to 10 or 15, right? So the devil is in the details, truly. So, I think the motivation is, number one, get it all in there so you can make the adjustments you need to, and we only remove the amount of foods we have to. We want to eat as much as possible, at least I do.
Yeah, and it just goes both ways. But, Stu's making a good sandwich over here. I think you can also see that, we got a lot of variety, a lot of color, a lot of fiber. I think it's important that you eat the food you enjoy, and as long as you weigh them and measure them, again, anything can fit. You just have to be willing to put it in ahead of time. Like I tell you guys, write it before you bite it. Nothing goes on your plate or in your mouth until you've logged it. So we're going to eat, and I hope this was helpful. Just make sure you're always being as detailed as you can with things. See you next time.
Thank you.